Hello, my name is Bill Davidson, Senior Consultant with Critical Design Associates. Today, I'd like to welcome you to our presentation of Ivanti Service Management, Updating and Upgrading. Well, we have a live production system, but we're going to want to be able to implement changes to the configuration and upgrade to new software versions as they become available. We'll be discussing the development cycle, the use of development projects and packages, exporting and importing request offerings or service requests, and moving packages to production for both the SaaS and on-premise customers. We'll also take a look at upgrading your application, and the upgrades will be a little bit different depending on whether you're in SaaS or you're in an on-premise installation. We have three tenants. We have a staging tenant where we develop the changes that we wish to make available to the production environment, a user acceptance testing environment where we have a select group of users to validate the proposed changes, and a production environment. And once everything is validated and ready to go, we'll move the changes to production. We'll be using development projects and packages in order to move these changes that we make. A development project is a way that we can collect the changes that we make to the structure of the application. A package is the consolidation of the changes that we make in the development project in a form that we can implement in a different tenant. And we use projects and packages to provide an organized and coherent method to update our production implementation. We'll be going through the steps to create a development project, and we'll also be making changes to examine and exemplify what the development project actually captures. The first thing that we're going to want to do is create a new development project. And here we'll go to the administrator interface, expand development projects, and click on a project where we can create a new record. The first thing that we want to do is provide a good unique name for our project so that it's easily identifiable from other projects that we might create. The other thing that we'll want to do is use the description as sort of a minor or semi-design specification so we can detail the things that we want to do. Once we've done that, let's save our project. Now that we've saved our project, we can assign that project in the upper right corner of our environment. We can set it to our new employee changes 1. Now that we've assigned it, we'll go to our business object in a new tab for employee. We'll go to the business rules, do a search for team, and we'll disable that required rule here. We could do a search now for, we'll just say password, and it will locate password, internal auth password, the business rule associated with that, and we can disable it. Now that we've made our changes, let's go back to our staging and take a look at our employee object and make sure that our changes really took effect. So we can see here the team is no longer required, and we are able to enter information into the internal auth password. Back on the administrator side, we can close our employee object, and let's take a look at our project. Refreshing our project, we can see that we've captured a couple of transactions. These represent the changes that we made. The other thing that we'll want to do here is set our project back to the default project so we won't inadvertently capture any additional changes. Our next step is to package up those changes that we made so that we can use those transaction sets to change another environment. Let's go back to our administrator. We'll expand Heat Development Package and create a new package. New record. We'll copy the information from our project into our package. our name, and our description. Let's save our new package. And now we can go back to our project, highlight our transaction sets, and assign them to our package. We'll refresh our package. And now we can see those transaction sets have been copied. We may have to refresh this a couple of times to see everything, but there they are. Let's notice a couple of things here. First, we want to make sure that we've got all of our transaction sets. The second thing is our type of package is actually an incremental package, and that package is open. By being open, if we want to make additional changes, we can go back and assign our project, make additional changes, and then move those transaction sets from our project, where we've captured them, back over to our package. If we're doing a SaaS implementation, we just need to initiate a service request with Ivanti to have them move the package that we've created in staging, where we've developed it, to either UAT or production. Typically, we'll move it to UAT. One little note here is that we'll have to close that package before we can move it to production. But we're not going to do that quite yet, and we'll demonstrate the process in our on-premise environment. In this example, we're going to move our package using the Ops console to UAT first. We'll log into the Operations console, and over next to our production tenant, we're going to click on Manage Migration. Here, we're going to be pushing from staging by applying a package to UAT. You notice when we do that, since we only have one package, it goes ahead and defaults for us. Let's just execute that. We can skip the target backup because we've already done a backup. As you can see, the package has been applied successfully. We'll log into our UAT environment to verify our package by looking at the employee object here and seeing that our team is not required, and we can input information into our internal auth password. Well, our UAT users have taken a look at our implementation and decided that everything looks okay. So now we need to be able to put that package into our production environment. We'll go back to the administrator now. We'll choose our employee changes package and use the quick action up here to the right to close that package. Package has to be closed to be able to move it to production. Once it is closed, you can't make any additional changes. If you discover additional things you want to do, you'll just create a new package to run after this one. Let's log back into our Operations console. We'll go back to Manage Migration. Always select the one that corresponds to production. And now we're going to apply this package to production. Again, we should have already made a backup, so we want to make sure that that's done. We're going to skip the target backup in this case because I've already got a backup. Execute that. Wait for a couple of minutes. Our package is executed. We'll log into our production tenant. Go to our employee object and verify that our changes have been correctly implemented in employee. And I can see team is no longer required, and the internal auth password is writable. We do have another method that we can move packages between tenants by exporting and importing. This is not really the best method to use with SaaS because it's a little bit less controlled, but it's good to have so that you can quickly move things yourself if you want to between production and staging. This is a very simple process. We're simply going to export our package. We've gone back into the package. We see export in the quick actions. We'll click on Export. In this case, we're not going to compact the transaction set since it's a beta feature. So we'll select No, and we'll save this as a convenient place. I'll just put it on my desktop here. You may want to put it on a shared file so it's easier to move to your production environment later. We log into the UAT environment, and when we go to the administrator, we see that the administrator interface is in production read-only mode for production. So what we want to do before we try to move the package to production, we're going to want to go to the Ops console and take it out of read-only mode. We'll just log into the Operations console, go to the production tenant, select Edit Properties, and uncheck our metadata locked. You may also need to uncheck the metadata locked on the UAT tenant. So now in the UAT tenant, we've logged in without any kind of question or warning. Let's go ahead and go to our heat development package. And here, we just click on the highlight. We can import the package that we've created to UAT. Simply browse for it. Again, I have it on the desktop. And we'll select that. Preview the impact. In here, we can go ahead and execute the package by import. The package is imported without any issues. When we import a package to production, whether it be through the Ops console or in a SaaS case through doing a service request with Ivanti, we want to make sure that we have closed the backup or closed the package. And we also want to make sure that we're doing this during a scheduled maintenance interval. We've done backups to the database and snapshots if we have a virtual environment. So let's talk about what we need to do with exporting and importing request offerings between different environments, different tenants. A request offering is really just a model or a template that we use for creating service requests, but they're created in the client interface. So we're going to develop those in staging and verify them in UAT before we move to production, but we'll be doing this on the client side. On the client side, let's go to our request offering. And we'll select a request offering that we can use for demonstration purpose. In this case, I'll select a simple one. It's just employee transfer. At the far right, you see that we have the ability to save it to a disk. So let's go ahead and save this template. And we'll just save this on my desktop as well. Let's log into our UAT tenant now. And we're going to go to our request offerings. And this time, we're going to just import the offering that we've saved. You notice it's called a ROF, request offering format. We'll open that. And let's take a look at that request offering. You see it comes in with a name, employee transfer, but it tells you that it was imported. I'm just going to call this one employee transfer 2. And we'll just go next to check out the request offering. And next again, take a look at the workflow that is involved. And next to the last page, we see that it's been in design status to make sure that we did check it. When we're ready, we'll go ahead and publish that request offering and save it. Now if we go back to service request, we can see if it's there. So let's go take a look. We'll create a new service request. We have to have a customer in order for the parameters to show up. In the parameters, we'll go ahead and choose all categories so we can be sure we find it. And here is our employee transfer to. We can select it and see that everything is fine. The last subject we want to talk about is upgrading. Certainly want to try to keep our environment upgraded to the newest release if we can. We always recommend you stay within 2 releases. Sometimes multiple upgrades can be a little bit more tedious than doing a single upgrade. In a SaaS environment, Ivanti is going to take care of upgrading for you. They'll do a staging and UAT upgrade, and then they'll wait several weeks for feedback from their customers, their clients that are on the SaaS environment. They'll have patches or anything that's discovered to correct or update that to make sure everything's good. And then at a later date, usually runs somewhere 4 to 6 weeks, they'll go ahead and upgrade the production environment to the latest version. Usually about 6 weeks after that upgrade has been completed, they will have finished at Ivanti with the installer and done some testing to make sure that everything works okay for the on-premise heat environment. Now the installer works exactly the same as the initial installation, so you'll want to make sure that when you do the configuration wizard, that you'll select the same options that you did initially. You'll always want to go through the installation guide and the release notes. There may be a few little things in there that you need to know to have a successful update. And there may be multiple upgrades required if you're behind more than one revision. We also suggest that you do backups of the database and snapshots of the servers before you do any upgrade. And you should probably upgrade your staging and UAT environment first to make absolutely certain that you don't run into any unexpected results with the upgrade. We really appreciate your attendance in our presentation today. We look forward to working with you. We'll be putting additional videos out from time to time to try to cover some special subjects. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.